34 times due to drugs. Over and over again. Over and over and over again.
I was arrested 14 times for being under the influence of a narcotic. And no one would say, this is his 14th time through here, Your Honor, for the same charge. He needs help. What if we tried something different?
You've been arrested so many different times.
Prison is an awful place with some of the worst criminals. Does a person who has never committed a violent crime deserve to be locked up with people like this? Yet, many people are sent every day for committing petty crimes like experimenting with drugs. You or your loved ones could be sent to prison for several years just for falling down the wrong path. Some background on how this became such a big problem today is an article in CQ Researcher by Peter Cattle. He explains why overcriminalization has become such a big problem. The war on drugs took effect in the 1970s, and this has led to a dramatic increase in the incarceration rate. An article in 2013 from the Huffington Post said that, quote, American taxpayers have dished out $1 trillion on the drug war, and what all that money has helped produce, aside from unchanged drug addiction rates, is the world's highest incarceration rate, end quote. My info in this speech comes from numerous articles and studies, and they have led me to this conclusion. Although drug users are committing a crime, we need to lower their incarceration rate by setting up early drug education, a drug court system, and by reforming harsh laws. The problem that we have is that too many people are being sent to prison. In this speech, I will be talking about 3 methods to reduce the incarceration rate that should be implemented and how they are effective. To begin, I will tell about preventing people from ever using drugs in the first place. Early use of drugs can increase a person's chance of developing an addiction. The National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse Analysis finds that individuals who first use any substance before the age of 15 are 6.5 times more likely to have a substance abuse disorder compared to those who do not use until the age of 21. This is a 28.1% chance to 4.3. The same study indicates that quote, 90% of Americans who meet the medical criteria for addiction have started using before the age of 18, end quote. Adolescence is a critical time in preventing drug abuse. A study done by the National Institute of Drug Abuse revealed that some kids have already started using drugs by the age of 12. So how would you feel if like a niece or a nephew or even a child of your own someday were using drugs at this age? So some of the most effective steps to take towards the prevention of youth drug use include early drug education and involvement in your community. So being involved in like guidance from your parents, such as them setting curfews for you or assisting in homework, has been proven to decrease the likelihood of youth drug use, according to the National Survey on Drug and Health. Now that I have shared some tips on how to prevent drug use, I will tell you about the drug court system. Drug court system is a highly effective alternative for drug addicted individuals, and there's like criteria before you can be sentenced with this type of treatment. They must be reoccurring offenders, and oftentimes they have to be sentenced a lot for like the same crime, like using drugs. So if a judge offers this treatment for you, there's like a certain setup of it. The drug users must be 18 years old at least, and if they complete this treatment, the offenders will be drug-free and more likely to get a job, and will be reunited with their family. And this situation was like proven true in an article by Beth Velquet of the Herald Sun newspaper. She illustrates a man's story through the drug court system. The man said, quote, I was so addicted to these drugs that I would do anything to get money for them, end quote. And after his graduation, he credited his sobriety to the drug court system. And he also got his first job in over 20 years, added Velquet. These drug courts also reduce the recidivism rate which is like a person's relapse back into criminal behavior, like using drugs. A quote from the NADCP showed that 75% of adult drug court graduates never see another pair of handcuffs, and they also claim that drug court sentencing reduces crime by 45% more than just prison time alone. These statistics prove that drug courts work. In Iowa alone, over 1,100 people have graduated from the drug court system, as of 2015, stated Grant Rogers of the Des Moines Register. Now that I have explained drug courts and their effectiveness, I will inform you of harsh laws. These tough on crime laws have done more harm than good, and they should be reformed or removed. Tough on crime laws are like the 3-strike laws or mandatory minimums. Quote, nonviolent offenders account for 90% of federal prisoners, end quote. This comes from the editor-in-chief of the U.S. News, Mort Zuckerman. In an article by David Krajicek, William R. Kelly, who's the author of Criminal Justice at the Crossroads, explains that, quote, these policies have failed to effectively reduce crime and recidivism. They have needlessly placed thousands of individuals at risk of criminal victimization each year, end quote. Criminal victimization is like when you're around like more violent inmates, it has like serious negative effects on you, and the violent inmates can, in a way, like teach crime. So prison sentencing does not focus enough on directly addressing why crimes are committed in the first place. Kelly states that, quote, the recidivism rate of inmates released from prison is well over 65%. He then asks, if these laws fail to address why crime is initially committed, how can we really expect offenders to be changed once they're released if all we do is send them to prison? The punishment of long-term prison sentencing is ineffective and can oftentimes worsen many of the conditions, disorders, or problems that offenders have. Now that I have explained about reforming harsh laws and other alternatives to reduce the incarceration rate, I will conclude this speech. Too many people are sent to jail each year, and this only has negative effects on them. I've spoken about 3 ways that we can avoid the incarceration of nonviolent people through drug prevention, drug courts, and reforming harsh laws. By implementing these methods, we can reduce drug use and prison rates. This is why we need alternatives to incarceration.